Today, we're going to give you our reactions from the Wizards' end of the season exit interviews. Come on now, rock with your boys. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, a.k.a. BScott, with my guy Abdullah, a.k.a. AB. We both hold credentials with the Washington Wizards and are your hosts here at Locked On Wizards. So definitely appreciate everybody rocking with us, man. And today I was at the exit interviews for the Washington Wizards, so I'm going to give you 7 main takeaways that covered head coach, players, and the front office. A lot of good comments, a lot of love, man, for this organization, both from outside and inside the organization, man. So like I said, a lot to cover tonight. So we're going to look at the head coach first, AB. All right, so one main takeaway I got as far as Brian Keefe, man, not only from his own mouth, but from players when they pertain to him. And the biggest thing is, AB, is standard. Culture. Setting, holding these guys to a standard and building a culture of playing hard, playing to win. Everybody from the players to the coach to even the front office, they raved about this front office, or not this front office, but this locker room, man, where these guys want to come, they want to show up to work, they want to get better. You look at from the standpoint of the young guys, man, they want to get better. They're willing to learn. Gray area guys like Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, they want to learn, but they also want to lead. And when you look at these veterans, man, they raved about this locker room. Both Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton have been to other teams, man, have been around different organizations. And he said they had a lot to say about this team, man, as far as what they're doing behind the scenes. So AB, looking at when you hear that people rave about his locker room and the fact that Brian Keefe has really set a standard that he holds his players to, and the fact that all these players really love Brian Keefe and have bought into what he's trying to do in his system, do you think people are really not taking the time to really see the impact he's had on this team?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for so long here in DC, it was a lot of dysfunction, whether it was from the front office or the ownership or coaching staff or what's happening on the court. And none of it at the time it was at sync. But now I feel like it definitely feels like in sync. The youth movement. And a lot of people want to blame fingers and say, Coach Keefe, 18-win season, last year, 15-win season. Why is he still a head coach? There's Mike Malone out there, Taylor Jenkins. But you have to realize that this is his first year as a head coach, and now it's all about the youth movement. At the beginning of the first half of this season, it was get the trade value up of these veterans, but also make sure you develop these young guys. But now it's all focusing on one thing, and he has the resume. And for people that are scrutinizing him, you got to think this is his first time being a head coach, and now with all these young guys and these draft picks coming up, it brings me so much confidence that everyone's so confident. People want to show up to work. There's no blaming the blame game. There's no bad body language that we've seen so much here in DC. And now it's let's win. Let's win on the court. Let's win off the court. And the front office seems like they know what they're doing. Will Dawkins and his crew knows what they're doing. Those pick swaps they got from Phoenix. Phoenix is falling apart every day. I'm telling you, man, it's not being talked about enough. It should be, but they are falling apart. And I think it's so crazy because we were talking about before Stream B where we have the problem where we're gonna have too much talent. I mean, that's crazy to say. If you from a year ago from now, if I said that was the problem, you call me absurd, you call me a madman. But that's the reality of the situation is the Wizards are eventually gonna have too much talent in this front office. I know they're gonna make the right decisions on who they're gonna keep. And this whole timeline, there's no better time to be optimistic as a Wizards fan because right now 3 wins from last season, improvement. I get that, but now you're gonna hopefully get a top 3 pick, hopefully number 1. And with all these draft picks coming up, all these young guys, like look at Bub Carrington playing 82 games. Game winner, Tristan Vucevic showing why he should be a starting caliber player in this league. 2nd-round picks making an impact. I mean, it's just that hasn't been the theme here in DC for so long as we've been fans beat, and you just have to be optimistic. And I think Coach Keefe is the guy. Going back to, I think that was your question. My bad. I was going on a rant, but I think Coach Keefe is the guy at DC. And from what we've seen in the exit interviews, I think the players agree.
Nah, he checks all boxes, man. I think the crazy thing to me personally is when you look at the Bradley Beal era, when you look at when we had early on, it was Scotty Brooks. Now, and then you had Weston Steele Jr., especially under Weston Steele Jr., you saw a lot of locker room issues. I mean, of all people, you had Davis Bertans out there trying to fight somebody. I mean, you don't see that. I mean, you go from an environment where people are trying to fight in the tunnel to now you have a locker room where everybody likes each other, where everybody wants to play with each other, where everybody wants to learn and get better with each other, man. I mean, you see that from coaching down to the players. I asked head coach Brian Keefe today, I said, what lessons did you learn being a first-time head coach? And he said, look, I'm still learning. We're learning together. I'm still learning how to, be a head coach. And these guys are still developing. He's still developing as head coach. He's got an immaculate long record as far as the players he's had influence on developing. Kevin Durant, come on now, PG County's finest. I mean, the long list of players who either Hall of Famers, All-Stars, or high-end starters who trace their development to Brian Keefe. So, like I said, when people look at what's going on in Washington, they don't understand how much is going on behind the scenes. And this was a comment made today by Malcolm Brogdon, which is they're doing all the little things behind the scenes, man. So when you look at Brian Keefe, he checks all the boxes. Development. He's going to develop these guys. Look, I mean, Bilal, year 2, you saw progress offensively. And to me, with proper work in the offseason, Bilal is going to break out in year 3. Tristan Vucevic, for a second-round pick, which we know most second-round picks don't even show up, performed at a high level. A lot of that, I'm not going to take it away from the players. They put the work in, man, but that has to do with Coach Brian Keefe. I mean, the fact you got 3 rookies who all 3 have shown that they can be key contributors right out the box, that's Brian Keefe. I'm just saying that we have to give him time because people want quick fixes, man. Everybody wants a Band-Aid. And, the same people who, we see all the influx of coaches and GMs being fired right now. Everybody wants to go out and get a guy. And it's like, we're getting back to that mentality of building from the middle. I mean, just go out and getting the guy because there's a headliner out there. The grass ain't always greener on the other side, man. I mean, you got to hold to what you have. We need to build. We have a great core. We have a nice balanced team. You got a head coach where give him another year or 2 to develop himself, man. I'm trying to tell you. Give him a chance because 1 year is not long enough. So, yeah, I kind of had to ask you that, man, because, like I said, the players love him. The front office loves him. I mean, everybody's bought into his system, his standard, his culture, they bought in. So, I think you have to give him that leeway, man, because it's only been 1 year. This is only 1 full year of being a head coach. So you got to give him time, man. So let's get into the players real quick. So some notes from the players. And like I said, I was able to talk to every player except for Sadiq Bey. I didn't catch AJ Johnson, Kobe Jones, and Justin Shimpney, man. So if any of you brothers watching the show, man, I will catch you guys once we get into next season, man. So definitely look forward to talking all 4 of them. But I was able to catch up most of the players, man, and obviously Coach BK. And the 3 main takeaways I really got from most players as far as how they really judge themselves and their fellow players. There's 3 main keys, man. Number 1, connection. And I already mentioned it as far as their connection on the court and in the locker room. Habits. These veterans have mentioned that they're trying to build good habits with these young guys, man. And when you hear about habits, man, how to conduct yourself on the court and off the court, diet, work ethic, strength training. There's so many different things off the court that people don't prioritize. Zion, way
to out someone out, B.
I'm just saying, man. There's a certain level of professionalism that is expected of a professional basketball player off the court, and you see that they're building good habits, man. A lot of that has to do with Brian Keefe and these veterans, man, really instilling a lot of these good habits. And number 3, energy. Energy is high in the build, man. Everybody had high marks with energy. People want to show up to work, AB. So look at the players. They kind of the same mode of my question about Brian Keefe, man. But there was a comment made that not every good locker room wins a championship, but very few bad locker rooms make the playoffs. So how important is culture? How important is having the type of locker room where people want to show up to work every day and get better?
Very, very vital. I think we know it. I love using the Commanders as a reference, but for so long, the Commanders were so god awful. I mean, again, on the field and off the field. And now, new ownership, it matters because, again, it's all about letting the professionals do their jobs. And in 1 year, they make the NFC Championship in so many years that there was a drought there. So, talking about the Wizards, again, haven't won since 1970. I understand that, but again, it's about rebuilding. It's about the youth movement for so long with Ernie Grunfeld, Tommy Shepard, giving these overpaying for these players that just weren't worth it. Drafting guys and getting those 7 to 8 picks and not making the playoffs, barely making the play-in. You get tired of it. And I think now it's a whole different trajectory. I think you got rid of Kyle Kuzma, you got rid of Jonas Valanciunas. You bring in new guys, the vets that actually want to come in and be a mentor, that won't be a pest in the locker room. And it generally does make a difference because, again, it's all about business at the end of the day. And if in the locker room there's a lot of mishap happening, what do you think is going to happen on the court? That's where it all stems from. So I think this coaching staff, this front office, they know what they're doing. And I think it's very vital in any sport that locker room is key and make sure it's a healthy environment. And it's very essential, especially since we have so many young guys in this team who can easily get distracted by a lot of small things. So I think the front office, the locker room, I think is in a very good place. I just think it's only going to get better from here, especially hopefully if we land Cooper Flag.
Absolutely. We have the locker room in place. We have the culture in place. We've got the foundation in place. Every house needs a foundation. Trying to tell you, man. So we got that foundation. So, like I said, high marks from the players about the players, and obviously about Coach Brian Keefe. So let's talk about the front office, man. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Hungryroot. Spring is here and life is busier than ever. Between work, family, and everything in between. Who has the time for grocery shopping and meal prep? I don't. That's why I use Hungryroot. It makes eating healthy, delicious meals simple and stress-free. Oh, Lord, come on, rock with your boy. Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist wrapped all in one. They take care of grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your taste and health goals. So look, so many different diets going around, so many people now have different dietary needs, right? Whether it's religious, whether it's halal, whether it's kosher. When it comes to different diets, man, the meat only, I forget what's called, the meat only diet. Like I said, they got everything to fit every diet, every dietary need, man. So definitely recommend Hungryroot. If you're looking to get back into shape, eat healthier, really, this service gives you nutritious food that is good and good for you, and it doesn't take long to prep it, man. So take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box, plus a free item in every box for life. Oh, good Lord. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA for 40% off and a lifetime free item. Hungryroot.
You got me hungry after that ad, B. I'm not going to lie.
I know, man. Once they mentioned that free item, man, they had me hooked. I'm just saying, AB. So definitely recommend Hungryroot, y'all. So let's get into the front office. Like I said, look, everybody had hard marks in the front office. And I think that if you don't realize that a new sheriff is in DC, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, we're going to have to take you to a game ourselves just to prove it. This front office had a lot of hard marks, man. And there's three main takeaways about how this roster is being constructed. And like I said, these comments predominantly come from vets, Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart, but everybody was raving about the front office. Three areas that, really show you that we finally have adults in the building. Number one, versatility. We say it all the time, AB. This roster is being constructed on the modern day NBA, which is a positionless league. Being able to play and defend multiple positions. If you look at most players in this team, they can play and defend multiple positions. Number two, character. You see it. You hear it all the time, character. But why is that important in a rebuild like what's going on in DC? Well, these guys want to work. They want to be taught. They want to be taught. Lord, listen to me, man. They want to be taught. These guys want to be taught. You can't say that about every young prospect. They open ears, man. That's what Marcus Smart said today. These guys listen. They want to get better, man. And that's character. These guys show up to work every day. They show up motivated. They want to get better. They play with aggression when it's needed. That's what you call character. High character guys is what they're targeting in the draft. It's not so much capability or talent. They want guys who are willing to learn. And that's a character thing. High character roster. Number three, passion. Coach Brian Keefe made it known that one of the biggest things he looks for in a player outside of physical tools is, does he love playing basketball? That should be a given, right, AB? I mean, do they want to play basketball? What's your passion for the game? So, AB, looking at all three of these areas, man, I mean, do you agree or disagree? And how pivotal are all three of these areas when it comes to what you expect in roster construction from your front office?
Well, it's very pivotal. I think at the end of the day, these young guys, they want to be out there. They want to go out there and learn. And it's going to take some bumps. There's going to be some highs. There's going to be some lows, getting blown out by 50, 40 points. There's something that comes out of it. Obviously, it's embarrassing. But again, you bounce back from it. And from the first half of that Wizards team to the second half of the season, you can tell it was a dramatic difference. It was on the court, off the court. I think guys actually wanted to play with each other, and it looked like team basketball. I get it defensively. There still needs to be a lot of improvement on the glass, rebounding. But just seeing the smile, seeing the young guys in clutch situations. I mean, that Denver Nuggets game with Jordan Poole hitting that game, where just seeing everyone to smile on their face. Alex Sarr getting better after every game with that 34-point career night. And Bilal Coulibaly, even though he's hurt, he's still going out there with a smile on his face, making sure all of his teammates are encouraged by what they're doing on the court. And I just can't wait. This is so much what we lack here in DC, a youth movement. And I think now it's it's going to be that question that who's going to be the ones making this roster, and it's going to be some tough decisions. And eventually down the line, you're going to make that Donovan Mitchell type of trade where you want to trade for that big guy. But as of right now, there's just so much talent on this team where you got to be optimistic, and they know what they're doing. Will Dawkins knows what they're doing. A lot of people want to give shit to Will Dawkins about how he handled the Tyus Jones situation, Kyle Kuzma, but you got to give him credit where credit is due. Those front office trade deadline moves, acquiring AJ Johnson, Colby Jones, it's not talked about enough. And I think hopefully coming to next season, when they're going to make more of an impact on the team, it's going to be talked about enough, because a lot of people were sleeping on those guys. And even Brandon, you talked about how a lot of people were laughing at you that Bucks fans were saying, oh, AJ Johnson's not going to do anything. He barely played for us. And just seeing his mixtape for the Wizards for just a couple of months. I mean, it's absurd.
Oh yeah. Hey, Bucks fans, keep that energy, right? We're the energy. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like I compared Wes Unseld Jr. in the issues in the locker room, the issues you don't see anymore. You see the same thing in the front office. You don't see the same issues you had with Ernie Grunfeld and Tommy Shepard. Now, there is a difference between Tommy Shepard and Ernie Grunfeld, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit, man. But, I mean, Ernie Grunfeld was known for what? Missing every year in the draft. And you cannot give him credit for John Wall and Bradley Beal because they were obvious in those drafts. I mean, you can't give him credit. I mean, Jan Vesley, enough said, when you could have had Klay Thompson, when you could have had – I mean, there's so many different times we could have had a totally different history here in D.C. because we missed out on Stephen Curry, missed out on Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, the list goes on. So hitting on draft picks, something Ernie couldn't have done. I mean, and Tommy, you can't say he really missed on draft picks. He just chose the wrong picks for what the situation was in here in DC. He chose guys that needed to be developed. He needed guys who needed to have immediate impact. So that was the biggest thing with Tommy. I don't, obviously Corey Kispert, Denny Avell, Rhea Hutchmer were all good draft picks. Johnny Davis, good Lord, man. I knew things. Look, AB, I knew it was a wrap when you look at the Betterman commercial and they already got Betterman with the number one jersey. I said, look, they trade Johnny. But like I said, looking at Will Dawkins, man, and Michael Winger hitting through the draft. All 5 draft picks are hits.
In a weak draft, B. I don't think that's talked about enough. Like, think about it. These upcoming draft classes are going to be a lot stronger, and you hit on every single guy. Like, how can you not be optimistic?
Yeah, and like I said, Keyshawn and Bub hate hearing the comments weak draft. They do. They don't believe it's weak draft. They believe there's a lot of talent in this draft. And, look, even if you really want to call it a weak draft, we found 3 studs in the draft. So, if you really want to hold on to the opinion that this was still a weak draft, that still exemplifies how good of a front office we have, because even in a weak draft, we were able to find 3 high-impact rookies. I mean, Bilal Coulibaly, Tristan Vucevic, and then the trade game. Let's get into trades. Ernie Grunfeld gave away first-rounders like they were candy. I mean, the time and time again, he gave away a first-round pick. We traded the first-round pick for Bojan Bogdanovic from Brooklyn that one year, and then we didn't even re-sign him. He went to Indiana. So what was the point? I mean, Markieff Morris, we traded the first-round pick to Phoenix for him. He ended up being the enforcer we needed. So, yeah, but the first-round picks, not only did we retain our first-round picks, we added so much draft capital. It's ridiculous. I mean, all those pick swaps, Phoenix Suns, man, look. I mean, good Lord. And
yeah, I know it's not talked about enough, man. The Mavericks, they traded away Luka Doncic. They have a better record than the Phoenix Suns. I think KD's out the window. I think Devin Booker, I know he loves Phoenix, was there from when he got drafted. And Bradley Beal, I mean, we know the story about Bradley Beal. Not talk about him. We don't have to talk about him at all. They are really on the down. And they don't have a draft pick until 2034, 33. I don't even know. So, look at there's 2 sides of the spectrum when it comes to the future: the Wizards and the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now is not an exciting time to be a Phoenix Suns fan. I'm just saying. I mean, coming from a Wizards fan tells you all you need to know. But this front office is the real deal, and the work is still starting. Still a lot of work to do, but you got to give the flowers to this front office, man. And like I said, these players had high marks because, like I said, character. Does a guy want to learn? Not every there's some young guys come in the league, man, that just think they got it all figured out. These guys want to learn. Bub, Alex, Bilal, they all want to learn. That's character. These guys are, getting back to, character, passion, the passion, fighting hard, playing to win. You had your fair share of loss. You had a couple of 16-game losing streaks, but like I said, we knew there was going to be a talent gap. You just want to see them fight hard and play to win. I think overall we had our moments where, you saw, you give up 162 points. Good Lord. But, overall, when looking at the total package of the season, man, look, they fought harder than they did under Wes Unseld Jr., and I don't think anybody can really argue with that. Like, they bought into Brian Keefe. So, but getting back to the front office, man, I mean, they bought in. They have high marks for what Michael Winger and Will Dawkins are doing. So, like I said, those are my three, or my lower three, a lot more than three, AB. Those are my 7 takeaways from the exit interviews today, man. So, like I said, I'm excited. I'm already looking forward to the media day, man, for next season. So, like I said, those are my 7 takeaways. Like I said, a lot of good marks, man. A lot of motivation in building. These guys are ready for the future. The vets, the young guys, the gray area players, everybody's ready for the next step. And if you're not excited, you definitely should be. I'm trying to tell you, because this team is bought in. And if you're, looking at the fan base, man, I think it's time for you to buy into. Like I said, I get it. Year 3, you want to see some progression, you will. You probably, look, Chris Middleton said there is a chance they can make the playoffs. He does believe they can make the playoffs. A lot has to go right, obviously. But so put your seatbelt on and enjoy the ride, man, because we're not that as far as you think we are. I think we're right around the corner for being a playoff team, man. Give them another couple of years, man. Next year we'll see, but I definitely believe that 2027 is that campaign for a play-in or playoff spot. So, all right, AB, before we get into the comments, brother, you got anything else you want to cover?
Tonight, I think every Wizards fan should root for Memphis. I know it wouldn't be the end of the world if the Grizzlies we don't get that first round pick from Memphis. But again, the more picks, the merrier. The more talent we can get, the more trade assets we can acquire, and eventually get that lot of Donovan Mitchell type of trade. But all in all, whatever happens tonight, whether Memphis loses or doesn't make the playoffs, still have full confidence that this front office is going to kill this offseason.
Man, look, I got all the confidence in the world in Will the Thrill Dawkins. All right, man. So let's get into comments. But before we do, real quick, everybody, tonight's episode is brought to you by OpenPhone. Come on. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about it. When was the last time you had service emergency? If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not, right? That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications all through an app on your phone or computer. So like I said, if you are looking to be a small business owner or start your own business, man, look, you got to have that disconnect between your personal phone and your business phone. This is where OpenPhone steps in, man. Because look, the AI call transcripts and summaries save you time on follows and ensures that you never lose track of customer interaction. Because look, that misinteraction could be the thin line between making money and not making money, man. But what is my favorite feature? The shared inbox. Your team can jump in any conversation without missing a beat, man. So definitely recommend it. So look, OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you're switching from another service, OpenPhone will even port your existing numbers over at no additional charge, y'all. Come on now. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. All right, AB, let's get into comments, man. And obviously, we don't have the same amount of comments as usual. I get it's off season, man, but definitely appreciate everybody taking time out of their day, man, to rock with you guys, man. So, Locked on Law, man. Starting things off, it says a lot of talent on this roster, but they have to decide who they want to be and work at it every game. Do you agree, disagree, AB?
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of talent on this roster, but I think a lot of things have to go right, and that starts with being better defensively, limiting turnovers, again, being more aggressive on the glass. Again, you're in the past 2 years, the team is Wizards. This team is just, if you switch, it's a easy money on the offensive side of the ball. So defensively, they need to get better at switches, closing out. They got to, and I get it, it's easier said than done, but if you want to see improvement, it starts from there. Obviously, offensively, we want to see us score more points, but defensively, we need to get better. We can't be bottom 5, bottom 3 in a lot of defensive categories. And even rebounding, it's absurd. And I think it'll be a big, I don't want to say big, but there'll be a good amount of improvement in year 3 of this rebuild. And again, whatever this front office decides to do, I think they'll make the right moves, and they'll be smart enough to know what young guys should be traded to acquire that big draft pick or a draft asset.
Yep, I agree 100%, my brother. I agree 100. Bucket Getter, what's good? He says, yo, B, I'm rocking with the questions you asked at the interviews. Much appreciated, my brother. He says, with the play in tomorrow, we are big Memphis fans. Absolutely, man. If you're not a Grizzlies fan, you are tonight. I'm just trying to tell you. So, again, man, appreciate you, man. Like I said, I enjoy getting in there and get that content for you guys, man. And I definitely enjoy interacting with players, the coaches, my fellow journalists, man. But like I said, I definitely enjoy getting in there and get that content for you guys, man. So, like I said, definitely appreciate you. Big J52 was good. Says, yes, sir. The memory of trading for Randy Foye and Mike Miller are buried. Oh, my Lord. I remember that, AB. I was still in the military, man. I remember that like it's yesterday. I forget if it was fifth, I believe it was 5th overall, right? And we had a chance to get Stephen Curry, Randy Foy, and Mike Miller. And they didn't even stick around beyond maybe 1 year. Mike Miller, the sharpshooter, Randy Foy, more of a two-way guard at the time. Not a bad combo, man, but not worth the 5th overall pick for Stephen Curry. So I'm with you on that.
Do you remember when they traded Kelly Oubre for Trevor Ariza?
Oh my Lord. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, wow. I mean, AB, would those probably be the 2 biggest examples of the worst trades on Ernie Grunfeld, or what would be some other examples of you real quick?
No, I think definitely those are. It's hard to beat that. I think though this is not really a trade, but the contract situation with paying Jan Mahimi that much, I think that was. I mean, again, you're just throwing money like it's nothing. At that point, just pay someone randomly off the street. Maybe he has more potential than Jan Mahimi. Again, just throwing contracts and just giving away money like it's nothing. It was a very common theme before Will Dawkins and crew. So I think it'll be a different trajectory. I think now this front office will pay money where it's due and also draft where it's right. Because for so long, up until last year, before that, it was I don't even know if this guy was going to be on this team a year or 2 from now. But now it's every single draft pick is going to be here for the long term.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I mean, a lot of fumbles, man. I mean, Lord. I mean, I'll say this about Jan Vesley. I think that if you had the proper people in place when it comes to development, he would have been a decent player. I mean, if you look at Jan Vesley, how he plays in the Czech Republic, the dude could ball. I mean, you could kind of see where they were looking at. Now, in the same, in hindsight, when you look at the fact that you could have had Clay or other, Kawhi and other names, I get it, man. But I think that shows you how important it is to have the right scouting department in, to have the right developmental staff in, because that's what was missing, man, from the Washington Wizards. You can argue, we missed in the draft, but then how many draft picks underneath Ernie Grunfeld or even Tommy Shepard would have been better players if they had the right developmental staff in place? I'm just saying, like I said, Jan Vesley was not a scrub. He just was a scrub in the NBA. And I think a lot of that had not, that was due not because of his talent, because we didn't have the right people in place, man. So, and you can argue a lot of play, there's been a few players that came into Washington. Chris Singleton, another guy. Kwame Brown, I believe that they developed Kwame Brown. And obviously, was he worth the number 1 overall? Then, probably not, man. But I think that he could have been a 15-10 guy if he was developed right. And I stand by that. Luckton Law says, we're the team who traded for Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stack could play, man. I mean, I like Jerry Stack as his Wizard, man. You forget, he put some points on the Lakers a few times, man. And he was played with MJ, and I believe we moved him for Antoine Jameson from Dallas. Yeah, so I enjoy Jerry Stackhouse here. But playing with Jordan is his own cup of tea, man. I think, it's just I mean, you can argue that it was a big reason why Rip Hamilton didn't have the same success here in Washington, because that's another guy that we let go. Amongst a long list of players we let go, AB. I mean, Rip Hamilton, man, was my guy. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. So, this might be the last one, man. Luckton Law. He says Kwame Brown would have been a decent player if he had a real head coach instead of Michael Jordan. I agree, man. Doug Collins, we all know that Doug Collins kind of favored MJ going back to the Chicago Bulls days. That's why Phil Jackson came in, man. And that's why it became a team in Chicago, not just MJ and everybody else. So, I mean, I never agree with Doug Collins being the guy, because I feel like that was too easy, man. If he had a real coach, if he had a real developmental staff, Kwame Brown would have been a 15-10 guy, easy. Because he had the intangibles. He had the potential. So we're gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say, B, do you remember when we were kind of being advertised the mid-3 of Kuzma, Porzingis, and Bradley Beal? That was, and you remember at one point, I think in 2021, where the Wizards were the first seed in the Eastern Conference for like a month. Like, to me, I still can't believe that was a thing.
Hey, man, I remember when Ted Leonsis tried to call was it Andre Blash, John Wall, and what's homeboy, man, who dunked on LeBron in the camp? Crawford. Remember Crawford? He tried to call them a big 3. So we come a long way from what the big 3s look like, man. So like I said, in kind of in summary, guys, keep the faith, man. If I learned anything today at the exit interviews, is that the head coach and his staff are optimistic. These players are optimistic. This front office is optimistic. You should be too. I'm trying to tell you, keep the faith, man. We're not that far away. Keep the faith, man. Show the love for these guys, because these guys are working the tail off, man. So definitely keep the faith, and just definitely bring that home court advantage back to the 202, man. So, all right, AB, before we roll out of here, man, anything else you want to cover, man?
Go Grizzlies. This front office, this offseason is about to be great. I think once May 12th comes around and we get the number 1 pick, it's going to be even more sweeter. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Year 3 of the rebuild is going to be exciting.
I agree 100%, man. So like I said, everybody keep the faith. And again, shout out to the Washington Wizards and the PR staff, man, for giving us the opportunity to be there for the exit interviews, man. So definitely shout out to the man and definitely appreciate you guys, man. So all right, everybody, we're going to catch you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. Catch you guys next time.